Welcome. I'm Roger Anderson, Williamson County's mayor, and as we travel around Williamson County and look at the different events and sites, today's program is geared more to the local area, and we've got two speakers with us today. Always great to have the law enforcement community here from Brentwood. Mark, thank you for being here. Mark Wood,
My pleasure.
Long-time officer up in Brentwood. We'll come back to you, and then Alex Windings. She's with the Williamson County Anti-Drug Coalition. So thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's great.
Understood. You drove quite a distance this morning
yeah.
over from Murfreesboro to
yeah,
get
I know. It's at least 840 is a good road to be on, but when you have to come up Columbia Avenue, it's hit or miss.
Yes, it is.
There's always a lot of traffic over there, but that's all right. It's all right.
So let's kind of talk about you as an individual for a couple of minutes each. Sure. How you got started in your careers, what kind of motivated you towards this, and we'll give rank and file to the law enforcement community, and we'll start with Mark. Well, I've learned a long time ago we may need you to a little bit more than we need her some days.
I don't know about that.
Tell us, Mark, how you got started, where you come from. I know your family is up in the Brentwood area, but been with the Brentwood Police Department a long time.
Yeah, I've been there 25 years, and actually didn't plan on being a police officer, even though when I was younger, you know, when I played cops and robbers with friends, I was always the cop, seemed like. But I have police officers in my family, which a lot of police officers do. And I have a couple of brothers that were in law enforcement. And so I was always interested in it. And I actually went to MTSU, graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree, was going to go into the medical field, and did that for a little while. And decided I just wanted to shift gears. So I shifted gears and began working at Brentwood Police Department back in '90. And been there ever since.
You've seen a lot of changes in Brentwood, not just the growth, but just how things are done. And it's so apropos this morning to talk about some of the unfortunate things, but there's a way to put a spin on that and to turn that around into a positive. But as population grows, we have more issues that come in, and certainly one of those is in the area of drugs and what D.A.R.E has meant to Brentwood for many, many years.
Yes, D.A.R.E has been going on there since I believe about 88, 89.
And D.A.R.E stands for?
Drug Abuse Resistance Education. And I've been involved in D.A.R.E for 20 years. So I've had the privilege of being in the schools for 20 years and still love it every day. It's something I volunteered to do. And I always tell the kids that, you know, I'm not made to be here. I chose to be here. And I go into the classrooms. I enjoy it.
Several years ago, from this position over here, we implemented student resource officers in all of our schools in Williamson County.
Yep.
Both in the Williamson County public school system as well as the Franklin Special School system. Very costly, but at a time in our country with the Sandy Hook involvement that occurred, it was the right thing to do for our community at that time. And there was a lot of discussion about the D.A.R.E program and the SRO programs. Could they coexist? And ultimately the answer was yes.
Yes, yes. Most D.A.R.E officers are cross-trained as school resource officers. I'm cross-trained as a school resource officer. My partner, Samuel Beatty, who works with me, we're both trained as school resource officers, although that is not our role for the most part. But yeah, they go hand in hand. A lot of states do that. A lot of places do that. So.
Very few places though, across the state implement SROs in every single school that you've got, which is a very costly endeavor to do from the taxpayers. Now it has benefits, and I think our parents feel safer for their students in their schools and the activities go there. And the thing that's over the last 5 or 6 years that we've had it, I don't really remember when we started it now, but the relationship that is developed between the law enforcement community and the students themselves, and the sharing of information from a standpoint of the students wanting to share because they feel comfortable in talking to you or to the other men and women that are involved.
Right. I mean, that's one of the pluses for the D.A.R.E program as well, is we've been in the schools for a long time, and that develops that positive relationship between the students and the police, which in this day and time is extremely important. that they have a positive experience with police officers at an early age. And I think that carries on. I've had veteran officers tell me that over the years. You know, we can see a change in how the teenagers treat us, you know, and they've attributed that. I think that's because they knew you, or they knew your partner. My partner, Sam Beatty, they know you guys. And then when we meet them, if we pull them over and have to write them a ticket, I just see that they're more respectful. And a lot of times they'll say, hey, do you know Officer Wood, or do you know Officer Beatty? And so, yeah, we work with those guys. So I think that goes a long way, yes, having that relationship.
Didn't mean to overlook you. Come back to you.
That is okay.
It's a little. We're a little different, unique here in Williamson County with the relationships that we have with our D.A.R.E officers and SROs, and I think it's a good example for many other parts of the country. Tell us a little bit about your background, Alex.
Yeah.
And, how you got involved in this program that we're talking about today.
Sure. I'm originally from Southern Illinois. I was born in Memphis, but only lived there for about 2 years until we moved back to my parents' hometown in Southern Illinois. And I went to school at Southeast Missouri State in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I majored in public relations, so completely, I didn't major in anti-drug coalition or anything like that, but ever since about 3rd or 4th grade, I've been volunteering and been involved with nonprofits, and it's always kind of been my heart. I didn't really know it until I got this job, I think. It really kind of came full circle. But we've talked before, Mark and Sam are both on the coalition. They're members of the coalition, and I went through D.A.R.E when I was in 5th grade, and I didn't even think, I was like, hey, I was the D.A.R.E, what do you call it? The
essay winner.
Yes, the essay winner.
Yes.
I was in 5th grade. I was the essay winner. Oh my goodness. I can't, like, it's just crazy to think how things come full circle and you don't realize it until you're, you know, here and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But in August, I've been with the coalition for 2 years. This was my first job out of college. I graduated 2 years ago this next month with a public relations degree. Came down, moved to Nashville because of a boy. My husband lives here. He went to MTSU. But I was just applying for anything nonprofit related. I love nonprofits. I love helping a community, helping people. And anything drug related was not really on my radar at the time. When I saw the job, I was like, that's really interesting. I could see myself doing that. So I applied. When I got it, I was thrilled. I was scared to death for the first 6 months. Several of the coalition members have told me, you have come so far, because the first meeting I was probably like a deer in headlights, scared to death. But it is amazing. I love my job. I know a lot of people probably can't say that, but I think I'm fortunate to say I love my job. I love the people I get to work with. Our coalition members are great.
So let's talk about
rewarding.
what that coalition really is. You've made reference to it several times. What is this Williamson County anti-coalition, anti-drug coalition that you're so engaged and so excited about?
Yeah, we do substance abuse prevention, and that looks a lot of different ways. We focus mainly on tobacco, alcohol, and prescription drugs, and reducing youth use rates. That's our main long-term goal, is reducing Williamson County-wide, using the Pride survey, which they do every 2 years in all the Williamson County schools, reducing those rates of usage. So our main thing is partnerships, community. That's why we have a huge partnership with Mark and Sam and the Brentwood Police Department. They do, I know we're going to talk about this, the drug take-backs, anything prescription drug related. This past year we've placed, with the help of TDAC, and
you can't use initials on the show.
Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation.
There you go.
I know, everybody's always like, what's that? So I have to remember it. So TDAC, they have permanent drug lockbox or take-back boxes. And we were able to place one of those in Fairview's Police Department outside for people to use 24/7. And then this past month, Nolensville got theirs, and then Williamson County Sheriff's Department has had theirs for several years. So that's just one of the things that we've been doing. We partner with the schools, with the health department. Kathy Montgomery and her health educators are a huge partner. We do a lot of presentations in the schools with them, Red Ribbon Week, Kick Butts Day, which is a trying to get like a tobacco-free life for kids. So that's just a few things. I mean, I know
it's a lot of things.
We do a lot.
Alex, how do they, as people that are watching this, give us a website or a telephone number how they can get a hold of your organization and participate?
Sure. Our website is WCADCTN.org. So Williamson County Anti-Drug Coalition, WCADCTN.org. You can go on there, sign up for our quarterly newsletter. All my contact information is on there. Or you can contact me directly at mywcadc@gmail.com.
Mark, let's change over to you a little bit and talk about the drug buyback program. Let's touch on what that actually is. And I know personally how involved and engaged people need to be for this. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a drug take back, and we don't actually buy back, so I hope they don't come expecting money, you know what I'm saying? But the Drug Enforcement Agency has been doing that for a long time, and our department has been doing that for a while, and that's something that the coalition has really helped to get going as far as county-wide. And like I said, we have that box there in Fairview. It's there full-time. So and I believe there's other boxes coming, correct?
Yeah, Nolensville has one now, and the Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we have, and you'll have to help me with the dates. I know it's coming up, right?
It's April 30th.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's coming up at the end of this month from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yes.
Like you said, Brentwood is having one out at their police department. Franklin Police Department's hosting one, and so is Nolensville. And the coalition members will be there helping pass out information and just collect the prescriptions from people coming up.
You know, probably as we sit here and I listen to both of you talk, this show is very, very important for our senior community. That, and I mentioned that I had a personal experience with this. Some 8 years ago, my better half passed away, but we went through a huge amount of cancer drugs in those latter 6 months of one's life. And I remember, of course, I had the opportunity to pick up the phone and call the sheriff and say to Jeff Long and say, what am I going to do with all these drugs? And at that time, there were not a lot of locations you could take these to, but the Sheriff's Department did have a procedure from handling that. Fast forward over the years, what I'm learning is, if nothing else, from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, which is TDEC you mentioned, just keeping those prescription drugs out of our waterways and our drinking water.
Yes.
And I think for many, many years, people thought, well, I'll just take those drugs, and a lot of them are narcotics, and flush them down the toilet. And that's the last thing we want, because we continue to read about that product. Some of those products just cannot be broken down in the process of drinking water.
Right.
Yep.
So this is the best option. You know, bring them out to the drug take-backs, and that way they're secured. I'll be at our Brentwood drug take-back, I believe, from noon to about 2, and we'll have coalition members there, and we'll collect those, and then those will be taken and they'll be disposed of properly. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, the last thing a grandparent would want to happen is to just have those drugs sitting around and have a grandchild come to visit and get into that, because that's something that our teens are doing. That's one drug that's creeping up as far as teen use, is abuse of prescription medications. So, and they get it from their home, they get it from their grandparents' houses, they get it from a friend's house. So if you're not using those medications, if they're expired, you need to bring them in and put.
As opposed to throwing them in the trash.
Yes.
Yeah, don't just
As
throw them away.
opposed-
Yeah, because people look in the trash. They'll look at, if you have someone who has an addiction, looking in the trash is no big deal for them.
That's
for
right.
to satisfy that addiction.
Yeah.
So this is the best way to go about it, and it's a way that the community can really help make it a safer community.
And can I just give another resource on that that end? I know a lot of people, they're like, well, they're not expired, they're not unwanted medication, I need these. You know, they have had a surgery or they have a loved one who's ill. We also, the coalition provides free of charge to anyone in Williamson County a lock box, which is a small, it has a key, it has bolts where you can bolt it into your medicine cabinet or wherever you want it, and it has a little key on it, and anybody can contact us and get those, and we will have about 5 to 10 at each of the drug take-back locations for people who want them. Just the first 5 to 10 people who get there, because they're kind of a little hefty, so I didn't want to throw them off on all my members and say, you know, drag these around for me for the day. So we're just going to do a few there, but if you do come up and we're out of them, we can give you our information and you can contact us and get those from us anytime.
So what I think I hear from you, and then we'll jump on to a little bit more into the program on April the 30th. The different locations in Brentwood, and Nolensville, and Franklin, and Fairview, and anything going on down in the Spring Hill area?
We don't.
Not yet.
Not a drop
not
box
yet.
down there?
They don't have one yet.
But on those specific dates at those locations, an opportunity for the general public to come in, no questions asked.
No.
Right.
You don't even have to get out of your car sometimes. We'll come and grab it from you and just put it in there. I would recommend taking them out of the prescription bottles and putting them just like in a Ziploc baggie. That's perfectly fine doing that, because sometimes they don't want them all the plastic and your information on it. So if you do bring it like that, you'll have to empty them out and then take those home. So just go ahead and be, proactive and do it before you come.
So one of the other things over my years that I know that the participation is, and you touched on it, is tobacco use. You would think with all the information that's out there, all of the years of research, that you'd see tobacco use actually going down faster than it is. But it is an addiction, just like just some of the heavier drugs. But our teenagers in schools, and particularly in the female area, continues to rise and be involved. How are you dealing with it? What information are you getting out to them?
Yeah, so we're still focusing on the normal, I guess, cigarettes and smokeless tobacco, like chewing tobacco, things like that. I mentioned Kick Butts Day, Kick Butts Week. We partner with the health department. It was actually just last month. It's March 18th every year. But we partner a lot with the STARS counselors that are in all the schools.
STARS stands for
Students Taking a Right Stand.
Thank you.
See, I'm
the
bad
acronyms.
about this, the acronyms, using them, and people are like, well, what's that mean? So thank you for letting me say that. But anyway, so we go in, we partner with them in the health department, do a lot of presentations. Mercy Community Healthcare also helped with the tobacco presentations last month. But it's hard because there's always something new. Right now, it's e-cigarettes. You see such a huge increase in teenage use of e-cigarettes, and they're like, well, it's better for you, but they're not regulated. Nobody knows what's in those, and now you can have liquid marijuana in them, and it's still nicotine, it's still a chemical, and so it's scary because they are so new, and we haven't had that longevity as we have with cigarettes and chewing tobacco of what those effects can be long-term on the body. So we've been trying to do a lot more on that end, especially with the teenagers, because it's the cool thing to do. But it's definitely not, and it's definitely detrimental to your health. So I just encourage anybody who's using those, don't.
Well, it's easier said than done.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
once someone has that addiction, to say don't that's like preaching to the choir.
Completely agree.
It is a drug. It's a
addiction.
heavy, and most of us that have gotten gray hair somewhere along the line have tried those, have participated in those. Particularly if we were talking before you got here about the military. The military actually encouraged that years ago with your father being a World War II veteran. You fast forward to the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and all of that. They actually encouraged you to do this by keeping the prices down so low. And then in particular areas, you could buy a whole pack, because I definitely remember for 15 to 25 cents. And and the advertisements back in those days from some of the major sponsors encouraged it as a manly thing in which to do.
Well, you had doctors on television.
That's right.
Talking about it too.
And a lot of TV stars.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So it's been a long process to get there. I want to go back to the D.A.R.E program because I've always been intrigued by that, and since you're here, I don't get that opportunity as much. Go back in those early days, fast forward, and that would assume you were around when the early days of D.A.R.E. But
well, it started in '83,
yeah.
So I was just graduating from high school at that time.
So how has that been so successful in the Brentwood area?
Well, I think I mean, my personal opinion is I think it is up to the officer. You have a lot of D.A.R.E officers across the country. D.A.R.E has probably 50,000 plus all over the world that teach D.A.R.E. A lot of it's on military bases and the schools on military bases. That's how it gets all over the world. But I believe it really is important that the D.A.R.E officer who's teaching it, number one, cares about the students, and they're going to try to do the best job they can, and they're going to be there as a resource for the kids. You know, if you have just someone going in there, it's not for every police officer.
Correct.
You know, there are police officers, I tell kids this, you know, there are police officers that would be scared to death to walk in this room and have to talk to you right now. Or they just don't want to do it, you know, because that's just not their calling. And I know my partner and I feel like it's more of a calling that we have, something we've been called to do, and we enjoy doing it. And I think that's where you get a lot of the success from it. It is the longest running. You know, there's been a controversy over the years, but D.A.R.E has changed. They've tried to. Right now, the curriculum we're teaching is scientifically based, and it's based on sound principles. And you know, we do talk about drugs with the kids, but we don't spend an enormous amount of time on it because a lot of them hear about it. We do address it. We more address decision making with them, especially in our middle school program. I mean, we give them a tool, and we use an acronym, another acronym, of D.A.R.E, D-A-R-E, but it stands for Define, Assess, Respond, and Evaluate. And it just gets them to stop and think about their choices and their decisions. And we talk about real life examples of what they might be faced with. And we give them some tools about how they can refuse, how they can explain, how they can avoid and leave, which is another acronym called REAL. So it's called Keeping It Real.
The law enforcement community
love
has it. They
acronyms.
love acronyms.
But it just kind of helps kids remember those things. And, you know, it's a program that when you have police officers administering it, it's the only anti-drug program where police actually administer it.
It's interesting to me, as I said here, time's lining up. They're giving me the signal. We've got about 5 minutes to go.
Sure.
But you think about recently Sharon Guffey, which is one of our juvenile judge who came from the referee side. And there are programs that go all over our schools now, and I encourage parents that have if you're starting going with your children in high school, you're probably too late. You need to start in that elementary and particularly in the middle school. And the stories we're hearing from Judge Guffey now and her presentations that they will come out, speak to church groups, speak to any group that would like to listen. Today it's not on our program, but is the misuse of the cell phone and the picture taking and the sexting and the texting that is going on. And these are choices that children make. And it is the thing to do in high school. You made a comment early on in the show about something else, but these individual choices can be with you for many, many long years. And sometimes parents have got to have the ability. My children are much older than she is, so we didn't have to deal with the cell phone. But I know several of the ladies in our offices throughout the area, they do check their children's phone. It's okay, you're the parent. It's okay to ask where you're going, and it's okay to do those things. And sometimes this education we're talking about D.A.R.E, and we're talking about the anti-drugs and the programs like that have to be driven from the parents because the kids are already ahead of us.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of minutes left, about 3 minutes left, I think, and I'm sure as normal I've overlooked something that you all needed to say. Kathy Montgomery will get all over me even though she's not here. I'll start with you, Alex. Is there something that you'd like to get the message out in our public awareness that we have?
Sure. Well, I do want to reiterate the dates for the drug take back. They are April 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Nolensville Police Department, Franklin Police Department, and Brentwood Police Department. You can come see us there. And I do want to encourage anybody who wants to be involved with the coalition. If you're a parent and you want to be a little bit more proactive in your, like we were just talking about, this would be a great way to do that. You can be a little bit more aware of what's going on in the community. Please join us. You can contact me. We meet every second Thursday of the month for about an hour. We have lunch because it is during lunchtime from 11 to noon. So please come and see us. You can contact me. I can get you on our mailing list or our newsletter list if you don't really want to be involved with meetings. I know everybody has meetings, but just be a little bit more involved with what's going on in the community. So.
And one of the things before you get away, I know your office is over on Gothic, which is where the United Way. That's where the funding comes from.
Correct.
And I think it's a part of it.
The funding actually comes from the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. The United Way is our fiscal agent. They're the 501c3 that holds it. So yeah, the United Way is great to us. We have our office there, and they're a great partner.
So my point in bringing that up was through Tennessee Mental Health, because I serve on a lot of Middle Tennessee boards, that some of your dollars that you give, if you don't designate them to go to somewhere, help to support these programs that we have in our community. And this community is very philanthropical in that it gives back through not only through the churches and the many organizations that all of us participate in. Many dollars come in from gifts strictly to the Franklin Police Department, Brentwood Police Department, and the Sheriff's Department. Right. People just wanting to participate in some way that they can help, and that can be anything. I know over here on our side of the Sheriff's Department, many dollars have been given for vests for our men and women to wear. We just we think all of that is about tax dollars for the city or county, and it's not. Mark, we'll give you the.
Can I plug an event I'm going to be at tomorrow?
Well, it won't be on TV quick enough. This won't be shown for a little bit, but you can give it a plug.
Okay. Well, I'll be at the car show tomorrow at the Children's Home.
Yes.
So that's another event that we try to support. It's a fundraiser for them. So it's going to be a great day.
Sounds fun.
So bring your car out or just come look at cool cars, and we'll be there giving out stuff to the kids. So.
Great to say, by the time this show, that car show's over, you've either made or break it, and you've gone on to the next event.
That's right.
I think it's important to remember these two people to give they're paid, they work hard, but they have a love and a passion. You've heard it from Mark, you've heard it from Alex, that it's something they believe in, and be involved in our community, be involved in Brentwood and the many activities that they offer and throughout our county. Thanks again for being with us. I'm Rogers Anderson. We're going to sign out, and we'll catch you around at the next time. Have a good day.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
You know the library has a Star Wars club. Have you seen The Force Awakens? Come and chat about it and the other movies in the series. Bonus, you can dress up as your favorite Star Wars character, play Star Wars games, and chat all about things Star Wars. Led by our teen Star Wars expert.